many pieces of Middle Eastern art or literature?
No.
No? Alright.
I don't believe so.
Not really.
Alright.
No,
Not at all?
I don't think so.
That's okay.
Not off the top of my head, but I do know that art and math and science was like really big in the Middle East like a while ago, and that's kind of not very well known by most Westerners. I learned that from Cosmos, from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I don't know many pieces of Middle Eastern art or literature. I just haven't done much of that in my, schooling. I don't do it for fun, so.
No, I don't know any.
That's cool.
Being an art history major, specifically on Western culture, we did very little studying of Middle East art. Of course, I ran into Middle Eastern art, but it was basically historical. I'm not familiar with any current art in the Middle East. However, just last Friday, I was down at the Sackler Gallery in D.C. and saw a very good show on Afghanistan workmanship of people currently in Afghanistan making some phenomenal wooden screens and bowls and things of that. It was pretty cool.
Art. I know the Hagia Sophia, which is a mosque in, I'm pretty sure, Istanbul, Turkey. And it's an example of Byzantine art or like Middle Eastern art. And architecture is art, so that counts.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, no. I know the name of one piece of literature. Well, not fictional literature. It's called The Incoherence of the Philosophers. That's the only name that I know.
Okay.
Next question. So I have this piece of art right here. What do you think of it, and how does it make you feel?
When I think of it, it's like an old woman. Looks like she's carrying the burden of something, and she's tired. I feel sad for her because she seems very tired and beat down.
Cool.
Like what I think of it, it's interesting. I can tell that he's carrying like the city on his back. How it makes me feel, I don't really know. It doesn't make me really feel any emotions. It doesn't make me sad or anything. I guess I feel bad for the guy. It looks like it's his responsibility to, I don't know, carry the city, it looks like. That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
A person carrying something heavy.
Yeah.
I think it's a sad picture.
Alright.
It makes me feel a little depressed. I can definitely see the religious influence in it. I believe that's I believe that's a mosque in the background. It makes me feel a little depressed. It's a very dark kind of image, and it's like he's got the whole world on his back.
Obviously, it certainly gets across the point that they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. I would like to know a little bit more of some of the symbolism. Certainly something like the rope that is over his arm, I'm sure, has some significance, and the hat that's on his head would also probably cue me into something as well. Certainly the building in the back has some authoritative relevance, but I do not recognize the building, and certainly if I did, I'd probably understand this better.
Okay. I guess it makes me feel a little depressed because it seems like it's one man carrying the whole city on his shoulders. So it just seems, it just seems really depressing, I guess.
It doesn't really give me any feeling. I don't know, I kind of feel bad for the guy that used to carry everything on him. And it reminds me of like Israel or Istanbul, I don't really know.
I think it's a pretty piece of art, but I don't really know what exactly it's symbolizing. Like, it kind of makes me feel sad, He looks like he's being crushed by that thing.
It's kind of like he's carrying like a city on his back. I wouldn't buy the painting, and I wouldn't hang it in my house if I had a house. But I appreciate it. Like, is it famous?
It is.
Okay, well. I don't know, it doesn't really make me feel...
I'm not a huge fan of it. It's kind of sad. I don't really understand it. The guy's like holding something up with his head and a strap on it. It's weird.
All right, last question. How do you think Middle Eastern art can eliminate negative stereotypes about the Middle East that our society has?
I guess just by having images of the Middle East that aren't violent might help others realize that it's like the people there aren't like, people sort of assume that like everyone there is like violent. And I guess if they have arts that show that there are people that are peaceful, obviously, that'll just make people have a better perception about the Middle East.
They can show the positive aspects of Middle Eastern life and just eliminate the stereotypes that we might have held following events like 9/11 and things like that.
Well, I think that, Middle Eastern art kind of shows a very long trend that's been around for a while. If you look at a civilization in that one snapshot during one time period, or look at just one country to represent a civilization, that can kind of give you the image of stereotypes and stuff. But if you see that this is a dynamic, fluid area with many countries interspersed over many different time periods, you'll get a broader picture of the Middle East as a whole.
What it's showing? Well, I'm not sure about this picture right here showing somebody like they're struggling. I guess they're trying to make ends meet, and they probably have a good life when it was coming up. So they're trying to, I guess, provide for their family.
Well, I guess it's like another way to think of a society than just what you see in the news.
Well, the art world is something, I've always believed that the art world is a place that's like free from stereotypes and, societal predispositions, because everything in the art world is appropriated, and everything in the art world is stolen and created and redone. So the art world kind of provides this freedom for anything to be said, and it's okay. So I think that, that being said, if you want to get rid of stereotypes and things like that, expressing how you feel with art is something that, unlike expressing how you feel with political statements and things like that, art is something that is deeper into human understanding. And so I think that yes, it is something that can get past stereotypes and things.
I guess it can portray people in the Middle East in a different light rather than what a lot of people think, and like relating to terrorism, it can paint them sort of like that painting above, not totally associated from, or not associated with terrorism, because that's pretty much what the negative stereotype is relating to Middle Eastern people, I guess. I don't know.
I think Middle Eastern art can portray what the true Middle Eastern life is about, not just how media news display it. So I think it can have a great impact, but I have yet to see anything, so I don't really know.
Well, people might be able to get like a more realistic view of what it's like over there, not what the modern media says it's like. So we might understand like the struggles that people go through, kind of like the work of art in this thing. Yeah.
Art in any society, I think, and that's one of the reasons I'm glad we teach art history at Gilman, can certainly help alleviate, just as you said, particularly now that artists are being more socially conscious and making works of art that do raise the consciousness of other people. I think one of the things that was sort of interesting, and I go back to the Sackler exhibit, which was just there, is that sometimes I think everybody thinks everything is machine-made. And it was really interesting to see that in certain parts of the Middle East, there are these people who are turning out phenomenal works of art, which are actually utilitarian. And it gives you a new perspective as to the significance of what they're doing. So I think if some of the Gilman students had gone in there and watched the videos of them working and everything, they would have a different opinion.
I didn't even hit record.